Let me tell you a story. Once upon a time, there lived a girl who was a big dreamer, like all kids. She was, however, a little bit misunderstood by the people around her, so she kept to herself, an introvert. The more she grew up and tried to make sense of the world, the more she realized that the people around her were fake, that they were filled with anger and hatred. And every now and then, they looked at her and thought to themselves, ah, what is she doing here? Therefore, displaying a little bit of envy towards the odd one out that was allowed to keep participating in society when they were forced to fit in. And as she continued to be misunderstood, gossip started to spread around her. People tried to project their insecurities and tried to create smear campaigns so that the drama queens in life can feel some excitement. The world kept rejecting her, and she experienced tremendous sadness and depression, but carried on. She didn't understand that most people were insecure and immature, so she thought the problem was in her, and therefore she developed people pleasing tendencies. She was, of course, an empath, but an empath with trauma, and therefore she had a lot of fear that she couldn't simply let go of. Some called her stubborn, other avoidant, but one thing she never was entitled. However, she met many people that were entitled, and some even attempted to destiny swap with her. Say hello to the covert narcissists, the energy vampires, and the karmic contracts, all driven by the ego, all toxic in their nature. Some played victim, other mirrored her. And then there were those that used love bombing as their way to get to the heart of the empath. Some were ignorant, other passive aggressive, and then there were some that were completely mentally unstable. And what did they all have in common? They had emotional baggage. But their pride said, no, 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 you are not the problem. They are. So they kept lying and pretending and abusing their power by pretending to be someone they're not in her life. Sadly, most of them did not have an identity. They were merely part of the pack. And you know what the pack attracts, right? Players, cowards, and blame shifters. Occasionally, she even had to deal with sociopaths, psychos, and shapeshifters. Our main character had many friends, or at least she thought so. She placed them in the friend zone, whether they were potential romantic partners or people that wanted to be friends. They were in the friend zone. But she ignored the red flags because she wanted to give them the benefit of the doubt. And there was one particular man-child that really changed her world for the worse. He appeared sensitive, the type of person that takes care of things, the fixer. But in reality, he was merely a stalker in denial. Obsessed with other people, lost somewhere between addiction and regret. He was a shadow of himself. And our main character fell into deep grief. Soon enough, that affected her health. No, 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 she did not have a meltdown, but she did have a stroke of inspiration that reminded her of her goals, and she was quite ambitious. Her loving and creative nature helped her overcome any money issues and find a mentor. New opportunities arrived into her life, and she was taken out of a life of routine into big adventures that matched her with amazing people all over the world. She had many roommates in many different flats. One was a hoarder, the other one a yapper. Then there was one that was honest to God, and one that had a goddess complex. But in all her adventures and meeting all of these people, she never quite figured it out that she, the different one, was always a starseed. Yes, a soul from the stars. Until she had her awakening amidst the most profound burnout episode. She returned to her inner child and began to examine what makes her who she is in her most authentic self and what needs to go away. Her intuition reminded her of her higher calling and brought her back to her higher self. She understood that we have many past life contracts on Earth, and some of them are here in different vessels, and some of them might just be handlers, people that control the progress that we have during our lifetime, and some of them might be quite the control freaks when it comes to allowing us to be who we came here to be. She also understood that some people in her life are going to be her lifetime guides, the same way that she's going to be the lifetime guide of people that she's met. And so, everything put into perspective, she found immense gratitude for the gift of being here. For the first time in her life, she no longer asked herself, am I the problem? She understood she can be the solution. And that's my message with the Oracle deck. Am I the problem? It doesn't matter what you've gone through, it doesn't matter what type of situations you've been involved with. You have the power to change your life story, and you have the power to evolve, to grow into a more advanced and more excited version of yourself that is excited to create positive change with your presence. And so I hope this deck finds you well and it finds you in the mood for growth. It is my intention to create books, products, and services that allow people to tap into their limitless potential and to reconnect with their higher self. And if this allows you to do that, then I've played my part. Thank you for watching and thank you for joining this Kickstarter campaign. And since I didn't get to introduce myself, I am Stellian, storyteller, lightworker, authenticity, alchemist, channeler, and the creator of Am I the Problem? An oracle deck that blends spirituality and psychology to help you embody a greater version of yourself every single day, a version that operates with more empathy and love for humanity.